let me just make four very brief points. First point, I think this is the biggest challenge that we face as a society, and I think we need to be incredibly ambitious. The plans that we outlined this week in what we call the Low Carbon Transition Plan are not so much targets. Targets are important, but as you know, government is very good at targets. They're supposed to be a route map to trying to meet the targets. And they talk about a very profound change in the way we provide energy, with a big increase in renewable energy, for example, but also nuclear energy and clean fossil fuels. A big change in the way we live in our homes, and a massive drive on energy efficiency. A big change in the way we travel, with a big drive on electric cars, hybrid cars, and there's very good news today around the investments that Nissan are going to be making, Toyota are going to be making in D-side in terms of producing the engines for the new hybrid there. Big changes in agriculture, I think, also, because that is part of the issue. Big changes in our workplaces. So I think the first point I want to make is we need to be ambitious. We have laid out pretty ambitious plans. Some of them involve wind turbines. They're not everyone's favourite cup of tea, wind turbines. In my view, and I'll be honest about this, there can be legitimate objections, of course, to the siting of wind turbines, but the bigger threat to the countryside is not the wind turbine, it's climate change. And I do think that we have a job of political persuasion, frankly, as well as reforming the planning laws and all the things that we know about to persuade people of that. Second point, this agenda must not simply be about disaster avoidance, it's got to be about the positive things that can come out of it. And that's why I think the jobs question is so important. Because we know from what happened during the the recession that we're in and the issues that we've seen, that we can't base an economy around one industry, like financial services. We have to base it around a whole set of industries. And there is a huge manufacturing opportunity, because what is certain is that the world is moving to low carbon. What is uncertain is the pace, and I think we need to push the pace forward, and who is going to get the benefit, and where the jobs are going to come from, or where the jobs are going to go. And frankly, I think we need to do a better job than we've done at encouraging and taking advantage of the jobs opportunity that there is. We allocated money this week to encourage investment in offshore wind turbine manufacture, in marine, in geothermal, a whole range of technologies, because we think there are massive job opportunities. And as I said in my opening, that's certainly true in North Wales, and there are certainly big opportunities here. So the second thing I want to say is that there is a big part of this which is not just about climate change, but is about the future economy and what the future economy looks like. Third point, sort of totally candid view, there are costs to this. It's going to cost more, this transition to low carbon, and we need to be honest with people about that. Personally, I think high carbon is going to cost more as well, because all the evidence is that if you stick with high carbon, you're going to be importing more and more gas from abroad, pretty dangerous places. 2/3 of the gas in the world is in Russia and the Middle East. And I don't think that makes us very secure if we're doing that. And let's be honest, the North Sea is declining, and that's just a fact of life. So I think high carbon has costs too. I think it's right to plan for low carbon and move in that direction, because we've got to do it morally, frankly. What's my job? My job is partly to try and make that as fair as possible. That means tough regulation, and we need tougher regulation of our energy markets, including on things like prepayment meters, in my view. It means doing much, much more on energy efficiency, which I said at the beginning. People don't think loft lagging is very exciting or sexy, for reasons I completely understand, but the fact is, even basic insulation can save people £300 off their bills. That is incredibly important for them, but it's also incredibly important for the planet as well. Thirdly, we have to help and protect the most vulnerable, and we announced changes this week in what they call the social tariffs offered by the energy companies, precisely because we want to target some of the most vulnerable people in our community. So the third point is, this is a transition where we have to be ambitious. We do have to take advantage of the industrial opportunity there is, but it's got to be done in a fair way. Final point I want to make is about what people themselves can do and about the bigger context to this. I think there is a big danger of denial in the climate change debate. People saying it's not really happening. We have some of those people in the House of Commons, not many of them, but some of them, who are quite vociferous. But there's another danger, which is defeatism, which is the idea that there's nothing we can do it's all too late. I don't think it is all too late. But I think there's a couple of different aspects of that. First of all, individuals themselves can make a huge difference to this. If government alone tries to deliver this, Mark and David and I and our colleagues, if we try and deliver this, it's not going to work. We have to do the right thing. So it's not abdicating our responsibility to do the right things, but people themselves will be the thing that determines whether this succeeds or fails. And this is not to make you gloomy, but we have a huge job in this, because it's got to be a consensus around this. So the consensus has to be built not just for the next few months, not just in one country, not just among people of a certain political persuasion, not just among people in democracies, because it's got to involve every country of the world. So we're talking about something that actually has probably not been done before in human history, which is a consensus around this question of climate change, spanning different political regimes, different political parties, people of different political persuasions as well. Now, I personally think it's doable, but it's only doable with people themselves. Final point I just want to end on is this, which is the bigger international context. And I see a couple of people from CAFOD with the T-shirt that I also got on Saturday in my constituency. We do face a particular challenge over the next 4 or 5 months, because the world is supposed to come together at Copenhagen in December and reach an international agreement on climate change. Now, international agreements, they come and go, and are they that important? I think this one is very important. This is a make or break moment. Why is it a make or break moment? Because we have a unique moment of opportunity. We have Barack Obama in the United States, who has come in, changed the policy of President Bush, and said, we've got to take this seriously, and is fighting to get it through his Congress. We have the Chinese, who for the first time are saying, climate change is a big problem for us too. We're having to spend lots of money adapting to it. We're worried about it. We want an agreement. So it is incredibly important that the world wakes up to this and reaches an agreement. Why do I say this partly to this audience? It is a job for leaders and governments to do this, but it's also a job for people themselves. If we can have, in the next 3 or 4 months, a real global mobilization around the need for leaders to take this seriously, it will make a difference to whether we get the kind of agreement that we need, in my view, without a question. If this is allowed to pass without comment, and if it becomes something that you see on Newsnight in the evening and it then is forgotten about, we're not going to succeed. So in a way, I suppose what I'm saying, unusually for a politician maybe, and this is too important to be left to politicians. It is about the politicians, it is about the work they do, but it's also about people themselves. So in the coming months, I hope, I'm very pleased you've all come to hear us today and to have a discussion, but I hope also you will get involved in the big campaigns that there are around Copenhagen, because I do genuinely think it will make the difference between failure or success. Thank you.